OJ right in your face.
Welcome back to the Faedaway podcast, episode number 6. I'm your host, Freddy, and I got my boy Zaid with me here. Zaid, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you, bro?
I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a bit of a reaction pod because we're doing this like 3 minutes after losing to Indiana on the back-to-back.
Yeah.
I mean, we lose games, but this one was just really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we got a lot to talk about, but what's your last week or so been saying, man?
Up until today, the Raptors were having a really, really good week. So I was having a really, really good week. Had a lot of positives to say about them. Still have a lot of positives to say. We're still gonna point out a lot of the positives. But outside of that, man, stay at home order. Yeah. What else can you do? Nothing
it's
to
awful.
do.
It's awful. But yeah. No, as a pod, I think we had a pretty big week. Hopefully, we got some big news coming soon.
Yeah.
But we're pretty excited, man. We just got to keep the hustle and just keep bringing content. So, I want to structure this episode a little bit differently because I want to talk about the Raptors' last 6 games.
Yeah.
Separate from tonight's game because I think there's a lot of positives to shed light on from those last 6 games that we didn't really see a lot of tonight. So it's good to start. So, I mean, let's just start with, I think it was a week ago, they played Luka Doncic and the Mavericks.
Yeah.
And they kept them under 100 points. So, Stanley Johnson, Stanimal, did himself a job, and we'll give him some flowers tonight, but did himself a job on Luka Doncic. Took him out of the game pretty much. And I think they held Miami that week as well to under 100 points. So the defense is looking revived. I saw you make a comment on Twitter about this being the 2019 defense all over again. So tell me what you saw. Tell me what you liked about the defense in the last 6 games. By the way, their record's been 5-1 over that stretch. Yeah. So they've been doing pretty well.
So, I mean, they held the Mavs to 93 points. They held the Heat to 81 points. Sunday afternoon, they held the Pacers to 102 points. So even if they did get above 100, it was very minimal. Obviously, in the loss, they gave up 111 against the Heat. But you just saw that 2019 team defense all over again, right? And especially against Indiana on Sunday, you know, they contained Sabonis similarly to how they contained Giannis. And the way they built a wall in the paint. They played team defense on Giannis just like they played team defense on Sabonis. And at any given moment, they would throw a double team at Sabonis to force him to get rid of the ball. And that's how you stop a guy like Sabonis, who, when he gets the ball, that's when he's most effective, most dangerous, right? So taking the ball out of Sabonis' hands and shutting down guys like Doncic, and you just saw them throw guys at those players. You know, you saw Nurse throw Stanley, OG, Pascal when he was playing. Chris Boucher would even switch on to them when he needed to. Fred VanVleet would try to play bigger than he really is. So defensively, I saw a lot of great things. The zone defense was working perfectly, and Nick Nurse made a lot of good moves to switch from man to zone when they needed it the most, and they saw it work effectively, and as they held their opponents to, you know, sub 100-point games, and that's been the driving factor of that 5-6 game stretch where they've been so successful. The biggest thing that remains the Raptors' weak point, and in their losses is their biggest weak point, is 3-point percentage and the 3-pointers that they allow in a game. You know, the Raptors have had a history of letting 3-pointers, especially corner 3-pointers, go in all the time, and that's been their Achilles heel. So when they give teams those open threes, those, you know, poorly contested threes, and you've got Chris Boucher flying at defenders, and he'll never you know, run that guy off a three. He'll just fly past them and they'll sidestep and then they'll go ahead and shoot. So when you have defensive breakdowns like that, that's what's going to make you lose games. That's what's going to happen. You know, when you lose, you're just giving up easy shots. So this week it was, today a bit of an exception, but not really. I still think they played decently defensively today, but during that 6-game span last week and a bit the week before, I saw phenomenal defense and phenomenal rim protection by Chris Boucher as well. Yeah,
and you're right, man. Over the last 6 games, they were the number 6 ranked defense in the league.
There it is.
For a team that was hovering around 13 to 16 to start the year. That's a huge jump, man, to be 16th. But like you said, they're allowing opponents to make 36% of their three-pointers, which is going to hurt a lot, especially in today's league when everyone takes so many threes.
Yeah.
To give up 36% on probably 25 to 30 attempts can hurt your offense, can hurt your defense, can hurt everything. So it can really steal a game. So I think that's a margin, like an area for improvement on the defense. Other than that, I mean, their team defense, their zone is looking great. I like a lot of their active defenders, like Stanley Johnson.
Phenomenal job.
The Raptors
Stanley
took Stanley Johnson from being this former lottery pick, turned into like a huge bust, into unplayable, into now very serviceable, competent defender. He's doing very great things on the court. I think that offensively, he's making his threes. Over the last 6 games, he's at 60%, but he's not really shooting that much.
Yeah.
But the thing with Stanley that I don't like on his offense is sometimes he just doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he tries a bit too much,
Yeah.
and he gets excited. He'll make a stop.
Yeah.
And he'll come down and he'll really want to be engaged. And I like it. It's good attitude, but a lot of times he doesn't really know what he's doing. He loses the ball, dribble off his foot, take a wild shot that'll go off the top of the backboard. So there's a lot of areas for improvement for him as well. But, man, like what they've turned him into to start this year, to be a really solid, like, and I think you and I were talking about this off air, but not only does he look physically like OG, but he's sort of fitting into that this year OG's role, right? Before OG really developed like a consistent shot. Well, I mean, consistent for this year, but prior to him really being a spot up shooter at a high level, he was that guy chasing defenders and with a really like subpar offensive bag.
Yeah.
So he's kind of looking a lot like pre-OG. The only issue is he's like 10 years older.
Yeah. 10 years old.
Not actually, but you know what it is. So their offense over the last 6 games, let's talk about that a little bit because it's up and down sometimes. And it's funny because Pascal missed 2 games, Lowry missed 2 games, and they seem to play their best basketball when those guys are on. We'll talk about that in a bit, but 49% of the offense is coming from three-pointers.
Yeah.
That means every other possession, they're
It's a
more than likely
three-point
to take it, or they are likely to take a 3. And that's pretty wild to me, man, because there's a saying that a lot of basketball people use, and it goes, you live and die by the 3.
There it is.
You live and die. Right now we're living because they're making 46% over the last 6 games. That's good for second in the league. 44% on the season. That's also good for second in the league. But what happens if that drops to 38%, which is still above average and a high team average, but it's not 44?
And that's the issue right there. I don't think the Raptors should be dependent on the 3 as much as they are right now. OG's been shooting the
Lights
ball
out
exceptionally well. He's moved from a 40% three-point shooter from last year to a 55.6% three-point shooter this year. It's only been... What's
17 games?
15 to 17 games maybe. So I don't know if that's going to be a true average shooting at 55% for the whole season. I think he's going to, quiet down a bit. The last 6 games he's been shooting 60% from 3, and that's why we've seen such a crazy offensive outburst from him over the last 6 games and why the Raptors have been so successful. So when I look at the Raptors roster, I don't really see guys who were consistent three-point shooters outside of Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. And Kyle Lowry's been struggling a little bit this year with his output. So now I'm looking at Lowry a little bit. It's not that I'm not confident in him. I just want to see him back to his normal self. Freddy, we've known, steady Freddy. He's consistent, game in, game out. Will give you good shooting, give you good attacking on the offense. I know he can shoot. Matt Thomas is probably the only three-point specialist that the Raptors have on their team, and he doesn't play much. So when I look at the team, Pascal, when I see him shoot a 3, I'm not always happy when I see him shoot a 3. Norman Powell, up and down. So when I look at a team that's constructed that is not really known to the players aren't really known to be good shooters,
reliable shooters,
it's hard for me to trust a team that's going to shoot 50% of their shots from three-point land, right? So right now the Raptors are living. They are living large on the three-point shot. I'm just worried about come playoff time, come later in the season when things slow down, teams have more time to look at you and look at what you do and figure your system out.
Yeah.
How are you going to perform then? We haven't seen a team be successful shooting close to or half their shots from 3 other than Golden State. We've seen Houston do it, and the Raptors are looking a lot like the Houston Rockets in that sense. Houston's was not successful with it.
And they had way more star power too.
Exactly.
Than
Way
the
more
Raptors.
and a few more shooters than the Raptors did. So I'm a bit concerned from that standpoint. I do want to see the Raptors just attack the paint a bit more. I know we have a few guys that do that. I know Norm does that consistently, but he doesn't finish well at the paint around the rim all the time. Pascal, when he gets frustrated, he settles for jump shots. I want to see him attack the paint. OG, I'm the one part of his game that I want to flourish is him attacking the paint and making that look natural. Chris Boucher shoots a lot of threes as well, and he's been hitting them. But when he doesn't hit them anymore, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So it's very hard for me to trust a team that's 3-point shooting. I want to see them attack the paint more. And if they can keep up this great 3-point shooting, by all means, please, keep doing it. But it's so tough to shoot at this high of a rate when you're shooting 50% of your shots from three.
Yeah, and I honestly think a big part of this 50% is because our max guy is not really playing like a max guy. He's just playing like a guy who benefits off whatever pass comes to him. He doesn't really insert himself in the game. And this is Pascal Siakam I'm talking about, but he's settling a lot for jumpers. Like you said, he's settling for threes. He's not really attacking the rim. I don't know what is going on. His confidence looks shot. I don't know. Maybe he's just lazy. He doesn't like the sport anymore. Cashed out. I really don't understand what's going on, but he looks a little bit bored of the game. He looks bored. He doesn't want to be here kind of thing. And some games he looks happy. Some games he looks upset. I don't really know what's going on, but we need him to attack the basket. And once he attacks the basket, it creates opportunities. It spreads the floor. If you're just standing there in the corner or standing there at the three waiting for the ball, nothing's going to move, and you're just going to clog up the whole paint. And I think one very important thing to take into consideration is he and Baines look like a terrible matchup, a combination. Yeah. Not matchup. They look like a terrible combination. Pascal needs to move freely, and I think Baines is a little bit too, what's the word, flat-footed?
Immobile,
maybe. Ish. He's not. I mean, he's no Gasol, but who's Gasol? Right? That could be a part of it, the discomfort. But, I mean, you're getting paid $30 million.
It always comes down to money.
Figure it out.
Always.
Man. No, but, I'm not going to give a guy $30 million to be my max player. And then the first roadblock that comes up, we can't overcome it. Come on, man.
We've seen shades of him overcoming it. I think the biggest thing for Pascal is just
4 games on the year.
But it's the biggest issue for Pascal is 2 things. Confidence. Once his confidence is shot, he's shot. He kind of regresses his game to.
And he wears it on his sleeve.
He wears it on his sleeve. You can tell, the opponent might be in his head. And the second thing is his IQ. When he's playing his smartest basketball, he's playing his best basketball. He's playing his most efficient basketball. There was games in that 4-game span a week or 2 ago where I was looking at him and I'm seeing him survey the floor. I'm seeing him watch plays develop. I'm seeing him reacting to how the defense is defending him and how his players are moving alongside him. Those were his best games, and when he doesn't play like that, it's so evident in his attitude. It's so evident in his style of play. It's just not fluid, right? So for Pascal, the biggest thing for him is get healthy. I know he's kind of nursing a groin injury right now, so I get it. Maybe it's a bit tough, but get healthy, get mentally healthy, get mentally strong, and then just study the game. He has a bunch of work to do on the physical aspect, 100% his skill-wise, but when he studies the game and he sees where he can do better, he usually does better. Another guy I actually want to give a bit of credit to is Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines played more than 10 minutes the last 4 games, which shows how well he's been playing because Nick Nurse has him on a very, very, very tight leash. I've seen Baines defend very well over this 6-game span. I've seen Baines run the floor very well, make active cuts. The issue with Baines and Pascal, I agree with you on. It doesn't look natural. It doesn't look complementary. Baines a lot of times hangs around the paint, and Pascal really, really needs the paint to operate. He needs that block to post up and spin. He needs that elbow free throw line jumper to kind of really get himself going. So do I want to see Baines out on the 3-point line shooting threes? I don't know. That's the problem. They've got to find a way for Baines and Pascal to coexist. If not, when Pascal's at the 5 playing small ball, or when it's CB and Pascal at the 4 and the 5, Pascal has to eat. That's when he needs to see it, and he needs to see that this is my time to shine. I have the paint area, but it's a work in progress still. You're asserting a new starting 5 into the lineup. It's tough. I don't see Baines stretching the floor for Pascal. So what do the Raptors do in that case?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Baines was a career bench guy, and for some reason we are, like adamant on starting him every single game. I don't know. Maybe like something's got to give, man. Maybe start Boucher and bring Baines off the bench. Just give it a shot. And that's a part of my frustration with Nick Nurse is like, bro, you're trying so many things, and it just seems like it's like there's so many answers in front of you that you just refuse to look at.
Yeah. Like
tonight, he puts in Matt Thomas for 3 minutes. The guy gets an N1-3.
Takes him out.
And then never sees the court again.
Yeah.
Like, where's the logic here, man? Like, I don't understand it. And Watanabe, like, obviously, guys being injured now, he's playing. But the second Pascal comes back, he's probably not going to see the court.
Yeah.
Tonight, 9 points. Last night, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. In the very minimal minutes. These are productive minutes. Like, where is the fluidity? Where's tonight? He tried 12 different guys tonight. Why?
Well, tonight,
Bembry, you're gonna try Bembry mid third quarter?
I'll defend Nurse on the tonight because the Raptors are playing off a back to back, and guys are playing heavy minutes. OG playing heavy minutes. Fred VanVleet playing heavy minutes. Chris Boucher, Norman Powell played heavy minutes. Chris Boucher around that 20-25 mark. So he's got
Lowry stunk it up.
Lowry stunk it up today. I wanna keep talking about Watanabe though, because Watanabe is honestly one of the biggest hidden gems in the NBA, because I've seen Watanabe defend 1 through 4, even 5 at times. I've seen Watanabe run the offense, take the ball up the court and run the offense. I've seen Watanabe lead the fast break. I've seen him hit threes. I've seen him hustle for rebounds. I've seen him make points out of nothing, literally just out of a hustle plays. The fact that you say that Pascal's going to come back, he's not going to see the floor, is a very sad truth. Really, really sad truth. And like you said, I'm really looking at Nurse, and I'm kind of like tilting my head at him a little bit and saying, what are you not seeing here that we are seeing? Or what are we missing maybe that we don't know? Because give Yuta more run. Give him run with the starting lineup. He's clearly the glue guy and does all the dirty work that the stars don't want to do. That's number one. Number two, I need to see a lot better subs and time and minute management from Nick Nurse. Sure, Lowry stunk it up today, but Lowry's been averaging 36 minutes on the year. That's third highest in his career. He's 34 years old. I don't need Lowry to play 36 minutes.
And he's hurt.
He
just got hurt.
Bring him down to 30 minutes. We don't know where Lowry's going to be next year. We don't really want to rely on Lowry too much. Lowry's a great leader. I need the leadership. I love the leadership, but it's kind of time to put the keys and give the keys to the young core 3 that we have. The Freddy, the Pascal, and the OG, and say, hey, listen, this is your learning season. Go for it. Freddy's been playing phenomenal all season. It's time to kind of really ride him as a starting as a starting 1. Kyle Lowry can start at 2 or the 1. You can interchange them. I don't care. I don't want to see.
You know what this reminds me of?
I don't want to see that.
You know what this reminds me of? This Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet thing at this point? It reminds me of a few years ago when we had this guy named DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
And it was DeLon Wright and Fred VanVleet fighting for that position off the bench, and they kept trying to go with both of them at the same time. And they ultimately went with one over the other, and then Fred blossomed. And then now we're seeing, when Fred plays and it's just him, it's him.
Yeah.
He's the main guy. He's shutting down on defense. He's doing well. I'm not saying every game he's a perfect player. He's not a perfect player. But when Lowry's on the court, he's evidently the 1B. He's evidently the 1B. And like, what are you supposed to do? It's Kyle Lowry, man. Like,
you have to.
He's your vet, first of all. Second of all, he's this franchise's player, the guy.
Yeah.
So obviously you're gonna revert to him, and then like, I'm not saying get rid of Lowry at all. Like, the only thing I'll entertain for Lowry is get rid of him because we want him to win at this stage in his career. We don't want him to, play 36 minutes.
An honorable
for
trade.
For a mid conference team that's probably going to be on the second round. I get it. That's fine. Honorable. I'm with it. But something's got to give here. Like, we need to give Freddy the keys. We need to let him take over, be consistent. Because from a scoring perspective too, like, Freddy's going to give you those points. He's a better scorer than Kyle Lowry. Let's just call it what it is. He's a better shooter than Kyle Lowry, in my opinion. Kyle just, I think, facilitates the game a little bit better, sees the court better. But, man, like,
I don't
something's got to give here.
I wouldn't go as far as saying he's better than Lowry.
He's a better scorer than Lowry.
They're at 2 different stages of their careers, and I don't think Fred has had to carry the same burden that Lowry has had to carry over the last 6-7 years that he's been here. So I think it's a totally different comparison. Do I think Fred VanVleet offensively has been the best player on this team this year. Yes, he's been the absolute leader this year, and he's been an unbelievable leader for the Raptors team. The way he plays with the second unit and the way even he plays with the starting lineup when there's no Pascal, no Lowry, he is the evident leader. He can lead this team. He facilitates early on, gets his guys going, and then the fourth quarter against Indiana on Sunday, we saw him hit 2 timely threes. He shows up when you need it. He's learned a lot from Lowry. He's ready to take on those reins. So it's about time that it happens. One thing I also want to talk about is just the closing out on shooters, because there's got to be a better way to guard shooters. Terrence Davis is very guilty of this. He usually flies out to shooters when he sees them. Chris Boucher, as a shot blocking big who can block the three, and we've seen him do that before, the way he flies out to shooters is unacceptable. You can't be giving up those open threes.
It's so frustrating.
The shooter just dribbles, sidesteps, and shoots. You can't be giving that up. You got to close them out, chase them off the 3-point line.
Yeah, and it seems to me it's like when a bull sees red.
Yeah,
like he's not stopping. Like, dude, yo, he took off today before the guy even pump faked.
He didn't even have to pump fake.
He didn't catch the ball. And Chris just flew. The guy's like picking up the ball. He looks up. He's like, what the heck is going on? Like, dude, what is going on with this guy? I'm going to start a new drinking game. Take a shot every time Chris Boucher jumps at a corner shooter.
Yeah.
Buddy, if you last past the first quarter,
we're gonna get lit.
all the credit to you if you get past that first quarter.
Yeah.
That guy, man, he sees red when he's... And today he blocked one, and I was pissed because I'm like, damn it. He just earned himself 30 more of those.
Yeah.
It's like every like 30, he'll get one, and then that one just pushes him another 30.
Another thing I want to bring up is, just defensively, how locked in everybody has been this past week and the week and a half. I want to bring up Stanley Johnson, his team defense. The team defense in general was amazing, just the way they've been playing. Sabonis was a very tough cover. So Stanley Johnson, the Stanimal, defensively has been phenomenal. Fred VanVleet, late game Sunday afternoon, Brogdon tried to go ISO on him, wasn't having it. Love to see that defensive effort and intensity. OG Anunoby, Sunday afternoon, he was making plays out of nothing, just hustle plays, and that's what helped him get to that 30-point season high on Sunday against the Pacers. Watanabe, if you want to look at perfect defense, one-on-one defense, closeout defense, you watch Watanabe play, because he doesn't jump at shooters. He chases guys off the three, knows how to switch, knows how to guard 1 through 5, and it's exceptional defense.
His anticipation is amazing.
It's unreal. Just his feel for the game, his hands, his ability to guard, his ability to read situations. I need to see a lot more of Watanabe on the floor. I just think the team fits better with him on the floor. Imagine having him. He
does great things.
Imagine having him at the 4 and the 5 instead of Baines. I just think it stretches the floor a lot more. Sure, you lose size, but he's willing to be scrappy, willing to box out. His ability to box out, nobody on the team can do as well as he does. Yeah. So I want to see some Watanabe at the 5, just because I want to see how
he might be a bit small for the 5, though.
He might be a bit small for the 5. I mean, it's a small ball 5 in general. I think
he's even shorter than CB, and CB's kind of small for that.
CB's skinny for that. He's not like small for that. I think Watanabe has the ability to play a lot bigger than his size. Obviously, against maybe a 7-footer, I don't want to see that small ball 5, but against a second unit, I would love to see that happen. And just the way they put the clamps on Sabonis and Brogdon on Sunday afternoon, I just think it was exceptional defense. I think it brought me back to that 2019 championship defensive, that defensive intensity that they had. It was just great to watch, and like you said, they were the number 6 rated defense in the league that week, and it shows. You don't even have to look up the stats; you can just see it by when you watch them play. It was just phenomenal to watch.
Absolutely, and to piggyback off that point too, turning the ball over in their last 6 games, they're top 3 in the percentage of points off turnover. They're about 18% of their points come off of turnovers, and that means that not just shutting teams down, strapping teams, but they're actually converting these turnovers into points. And that was one thing that with Indiana, they didn't allow them to convert the points off the Raptors turnover, and that helped them win the game. And it comes down to that, man. You got to play defense, but also you got to convert your defense, because unfortunately, the Raptors, if we're talking about forms of offense, their top is obviously the 3. And then you got they get a lot of 20% of their points off of turnovers. Yeah. Their half court offense is not great.
It's not.
So if you're not converting your turnovers and you're missing your threes, it's going to be an abysmal game. And
not only that, in late game situations, if you can't run a half court offense, you're in trouble. We saw it today against the Pacers once again. They came up with the loss today.
I hate this two in a row.
I know. They split both Miami and the Pacers games, but
Charlotte too.
Yeah, we saw it today though. The half court offense just seemed so rushed. It was Norman Powell trying to dunk, Bembry trying to dunk, Kyle Lowry taking contested threes, coming off some screens. It just didn't look smooth. It didn't look like a team game. A bunch of issues. You mentioned the point off turnovers today. The Raptors were 14, Pacers were 27. Another issue that really needs to tighten up, and that I thought that last week and the week and a half the Raptors did a great job on, is the free throws. Stop fouling. The Pacers shot 45 free throws today. 45. No, and granted, the Raptors don't get calls all the time, and sometimes calls don't go their way. I understand that, and I'm the first person to be like, yo, these calls are whack today. But a lot of the times, man, stupid fouls by Chris Boucher, out of control fouls by Chris Boucher, stupid fouls by Lowry even a couple times today. Put your hands up. Don't put your hands down. If you're gonna guard with your hands on your shorts. It's just a lot of silly fouls leading to easy free throws. Miles Turner today ate today at the free throw line. He ate because Chris Boucher constantly hands down. Wouldn't grab a rebound. Hack. So you've got to tighten that up because you're giving away.
And that's where Baines comes in, though. Unfortunately, but Chris Boucher is gonna push Miles Turner out of the lineup. No, he's not. In what world?
I agree, but defend smarter. If you're making Miles Turner earn and work for his points, fine. But you gotta be scrappier. You're giving him free throws. You hit your offense, so you don't put your hands up, jump up.
Yeah.
Chris Boucher's got wild long arms. There's no way you can't distract the shot. The fortunate part is that Chris Boucher oftentimes always swinging, always hacking, always putting his hands down, and then looks at the ref like he did nothing. God bless you, Chris. You've been having a great season, bro, but you foul.
Yeah.
If you're averaging 4 or 5 fouls a game, you foul.
No, he's definitely had a great season, but he's slowed down, man. I mean, last 3 games, 8 points, 1 rebound, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 12.7 rebounds, and then obviously tonight against the Pacers, another pretty rough night. I think he struggled tonight. Yeah, Chris Boucher, 9 points, 9 rebounds in 29 minutes of play. Man,
at the same time, I don't want to be a team that's depending on Chris Boucher's output.
3 of 12 though.
3 of 12 is poor. Okay. It's poor, but I need Chris Boucher to give me an efficient 10 and 10 every night. We've got 25-point scorers. We've got 30-point scorers. I need him to give the Raptors a 10 and 10 game every night, shooting 5 or 6 shots. The fortunate part is when he gets 3-point happy, and he makes one. He's
1 of 6 from 3.
There you go. He gets 3-point happy a bunch of times, and his shot selection isn't quite there yet. But you got to also look at it holistically. And Chris Boucher is getting his real first NBA minutes this year, so he's still learning. He's still a work in progress.
This is another thing that takes me off, man. Like, Chris Boucher in 29 minutes, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 1 block. Aaron Baines in 14 minutes, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block. Like, you're going to give him double them. Like, 9 points and 14. You finally are getting some production from Baines.
Yeah.
And you throw him to the bench, and what happens at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Miles Turner eats and eats and eats and eats and eats, and then you lose the game on free throws. And that's what I'm saying is so frustrating with this guy. It's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want from this team? I can imagine they're frustrated as hell. Like, what do you want?
It's not 100% on Nick Nurse, though, because nobody outside of Freddy has really been consistent. Baines will start off a game, play the first 5 minutes, play extremely well, put him back in the second quarter, and he'll disappear. He won't be there anymore. So, Nick Nurse, I agree, sometimes his rotation experiments aren't the greatest, but what are the players giving him to work with a lot of times? When you're inconsistent, he's going to have to pull you out. You're not producing. You're not defending well. You're not playing well. So it's a tough position to be in as a player and as a coach, because the player's got to be consistent and the coach also has to be consistent. If one of the two sides aren't consistent, it becomes difficult to read. And it's been a growing season this season. It's been a kind of let's figure it out in game and make in-game adjustments this season. And sometimes they've worked, and a lot of times they haven't, unfortunately. So what the Raptors really need is just consistency, and I think just defining roles a lot better. And then once you get the full team healthy and those roles are defined and you get consistent play and hopefully a better half-court offense, I think things are going to look up. But overall, last week was a successful week. The Raptors were just at the 8th seed. With a loss today and the Magic win today, they fell down to the 9th seed, which is fine. I think it's very doable for the Raptors to reach a 6th seed by the end of this week.
Yeah. And look, man, back-to-back games, you're missing Pascal. Indiana's a good team.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not the end of the world. You don't like the issue was on the second night of a back-to-back. You gave up like 130 points in regulation. The defense, you gave up 70 points in the first half, 60 in the second half.
That was tough. That was very, very tough.
I mean, you give up 70 and a half. It's tough. They scored 60, which was great.
Yeah.
But you give up 70 and a half. Your defense isn't there. It just didn't show up today for whatever. I don't want to make it seem like we're expecting them to win every single game. But those are just the takeaways. And honestly, before we move on from the Raps, if I could just say, I want to see more Yuta Watanabe. That's my request. What I think could benefit the team a little bit more Utah minutes, put him in a position to help the team, support the team, and defend, and just do the nitty-gritty, like you said, and the things that people don't want to do.
And honestly, more Stanley. You mentioned Stanley was shooting 60% or something like that earlier on. He's shooting 42% from 3 on the season. He doesn't take many shots in game. If he can maybe start to take more shots from 3, confident spot-up 3-point shots, I don't really want to see him put it on the floor. I don't want to see him drive to the basket. I'd much rather him play a 3D role, kind of like OG. If he just shoots 3 or 4 threes a game, I'll be happy with that because I'm confident in Stanley. I think he can hit 40-45% of his 3-point shots. So I want to see a few. I want to see a few more of those.
That's an outrageous assumption. 40-45. We'll see.
He's at 42 right now.
Yeah, on 1.5 attempts. Okay, that's the issue.
That's all right.
So we'll see if increasing it will result in that. But let's move on, man. Let's talk around the league.
Yes.
Let's talk about your Brooklyn Nets because it's been a week.
They're mine now, huh?
It's been a week since we came on here. I made some outrageous comments. Apparently, they're outrageous, but Shane Battier.
Apparently,
I got ripped on my Shane Battier take, but I'm here to double down on my Brooklyn Nets take because they are not a good defensive team. When it comes down to it, you need to defend. You need to stop people. If you can't game plan, if you can't defend, you can't stop anybody. You're not going to make a finals. You could get far with star power, probably conference final, whatever. You're not going to win. You cannot win if you don't play defense. Like we talked about it last week. The last 10 years of champions all were great defensive teams. Had great defensive pieces and players. Besides KD, I don't know what Brooklyn has that's a respectable defender. I mean, DeAndre Jordan's kind of washed. So I'm not really going to go with that. So, I mean, it's tough. They lost back-to-back games to Cleveland. Colin Sexton cooked them. They gave up 270 points in those 2 games. And then they lost again Friday night. I can't remember who they played. But they lost, and they gave a bunch of points.
Yep.
124, I think it was. So it's like, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do when it's a different team, not the Cavs? When it's not Colin Sexton? And you're letting him get 40. I don't know. They won tonight against Miami, but Miami's short. I mean, they have nobody.
Hey.
They have nobody, man.
They beat the Raptors. So they beat the Raptors with their nobody. So it doesn't matter. Don't say short-handed, not short-handed.
KD, Harden, and Kyrie played against a team that had nobody, and they couldn't even score 100 points. But that's besides the point. Look, Brooklyn, as constructed, I'm not high on them. I don't think that they're going to do as well as people think that they are.
Yep.
They need depth, in my opinion, but they need defense more than anything else in the world. And I just don't know between the 3 guys that they have. Like, the issue here is Kyrie and Harden on at the same time. It's such a liability for you.
It's not that it's a liability. I just think, Kyrie came out from his,
retirement.
Not retirement. His
hiatus.
His hiatus, his whatever you want to call it, and came out and shot, what you said, 28 shots earlier?
28
shots. I think Kyrie was just trying to get run, trying to get his rhythm, trying to get going. It's evident that Harden's taking a step back, and he's like, I'm going to be the playmaker. And out of those 2 guys, I want Harden to be the playmaker just because his ability to run the pick and roll offense, his ability to run a offense, and his vision, I think, is more suitable to be the playmaker and the true point guard, I'll say, on this team. As constructed, like you said, it is going to be very tough. I do think, the defense is a large issue at the 5 spot and at the wing spot. They just got to go and attack the market. There's been rumors they want Kevin Love. There's been rumors they want Andre Drummond.
How are they going to do the Kevin Love thing?
Joe
Tsai is going to.
I don't even want to talk about the Kevin Love thing because that's not the answer to their problems. Andre Drummond will do a much better job for them if that's the cap they want to go for Drummond, because a rim protector and a mobile big who can rebound and box out and block shots. That's the kind of defense you need right now, because DeAndre Jordan cannot do that for you right now. But I just don't believe that this is the final team and this is how they're going to be. If their GM is smart, he's going to go out to the market and get some key pieces. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I mean, if they're inquiring about Drummond and Kevin Love, then who knows what you can do.
I think they're hoping that the Cavs buy out Drummond.
There's going to be a buyout market eventually at some point. Whoever it may be, it's going to happen. Hopefully they can capitalize on that. They did get like a $5.6 million exception because Spencer Dinwiddie's out. So there's some money there. I'm sure you can you can sign guys on vet mins. But as constructed, finals is looking a bit hazy just because of their defense. I don't think this is going to be the final roster. I think they're going to get better. They're going to get key pieces. Mm-hmm. And it also comes down to the coaching staff. Steve Nash, show me what you got now. You want to put your name into the basket for this position. Show me why you deserve this position. Come up with a defensive scheme. Let your team come up with a defensive scheme to stop guys, because giving up 127 on average to the Cavs is unacceptable. Giving up 40 to Colin Sexton is unacceptable. You can't contain Colin Sexton.
20 straight.
Who's having, by the way, a phenomenal season. Don't get me wrong, but it's Colin Sexton. He's not an all-star, right? So if you can't stop him from getting 20 straight points, then something has to change, and those changes need to be made throughout the season at some point. If they make those changes, if they get better defensively, straight to the finals.
Yeah, I mean that's they have the star power to get there. It's just the fact that you can't stop anybody is a bit like disheartening, man. Like, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, look, they have the number 2 defense in the league right now.
The Cavs?
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's great, but I'm not really high on that. I'm not buying that right now.
Yeah.
They're a good defensive team, absolutely, but you're the Brooklyn Nets. You should be able to at least win one of those 2 games.
Yeah.
If you're not going to win, Colin Sexton. Guys have career nights all the time. They'll snap. T-Ross had 51 night. Like, it happens, bro. I get it. But the second night of that, you should have won that game. He came back and scored 20 more again. So that's going to be a problem, the defense. And you brought up that point, man. To come back from a hiatus that's self-inflicted, you get fined because you're missing time. And you come back and you shoot almost 30 shots, and Harden shoots 14. And you brought up the point, well, Harden's a better playmaker. Absolutely, he is a playmaker and should have the ball in his hands. But who's a better scorer? Historically.
No. There's no doubt about that. That doesn't necessarily mean that Harden needs to score more than Kyrie. I think Harden, because he's so lethal as a scorer, that's what makes him such a great playmaker as well. Kyrie, I don't want the ball in Kyrie's hands because he's not going to make a play for anybody else.
Yeah.
He's going to ISO or get the ball and attack.
Like if I'm looking at the box score as a coach and I'm seeing 28 for Kyrie, 14 for Harden, like, all right, man. Like, look at, like, historically, Harden's a better scorer. At least give him 4 of those shots.
Yeah, I agree. You got to tone that down and come down to 20 shots. Kyrie shooting 61% from the field on the season, so
he's definitely
he's
a bucket.
It's not the end of the world, but I agree with your point. He shouldn't be shooting 28 shots, especially when you have KD and Harden on it.
He just came back.
You have 2 historic scorers on your team. Listen, coming back shooting 28 shots, I think people were walking on eggshells a little bit. They wanted to cater to Kyrie. If that happens the rest of the season, we know there's problems with that. We know there's going to be problems. I'm hoping.
Bro, that's
I'm praying. Please, Kyrie, just be self-aware.
That's like your boss.
Be self-aware.
Bro, that's like your boss at work taking like a 4-week vacation. And then the first day back, they come and they're just cussing you out for something you didn't do on your side. It's like, bro, you just left for 4 weeks.
What are you doing
on a paid vacation? You're going to come back and tell me I've been grinding it here? What I did 3 weeks ago? Come on, bro. It's the same thing. You come in, 30 shots. Come in the next game, 30 more shots. Like, bro, I don't care. Nothing you can say or do. It doesn't matter who you have on the court.
Yeah.
Like, now we're looking at Harden. This is a perennial MVP. Kyrie has never been considered for an MVP. Harden's a perennial MVP. And he's not even going to give him shots.
Okay, I'm interested. Let's see how many shots he took today. James Harden, 7 of 10. Kyrie Irving, 6 of 17. Kevin Durant, 6 of 21.
Bro,
hey.
7 of 10 and 6 of 17.
Hey.
Harden
He took it down 11 shots. That's what you wanted.
Harden made.
Are you serious?
One more field goal on 7 less shots.
Yeah, well, okay, he had an inefficient night. He still saw he's been shooting 60 plus.
I'm just saying,
the year.
man, Kyrie and Harden.
The one game.
Kyrie and Harden shouldn't be in the same breath in terms of offensive ability.
I'm not saying that though. But I'm saying.
I'm saying.
I agree. I agree with that. I'm not debating that point. But what I'm saying is, in terms of playing your role on this team, James Harden's role is not going to be to score on this team, although he can.
It should be. But you can't play defense, so might as well try to score.
Okay, but the unfortunate part is that you need somebody to facilitate, and that person's not going to be Kyrie. You're better off with having Harden facilitate.
So what
and shoot 7 for 10.
What was if that wasn't the plan for him to facilitate? Then what was their plan before Harden? Like they didn't bring in Kyrie thinking we're gonna bring in Harden. They brought in Kyrie to be the point guard and playmaker, and KD being the big man, the winger, the wing player.
Yeah.
So they clearly brought him in to be a playmaker.
Not necessarily to be a playmaker. He was still putting up 25 a game, right? So it's different. The team constructed now is far different, like you said, from when they first brought in the team. Kyrie, I don't think even had to make as many plays as he did prior to the trade because they had better guys on the floor. They had better shooters. They had better role players on the floor. Now that they're missing that, the role of the playmaker has gone a lot bigger. They need to get a lot more open shots. James Harden is the guy to do that. There's a reason why he puts up phenomenal triple doubles. There's a reason why he's averaged close to 8, 9, 10 assists in a season along his career. He had 8 assists tonight. You want to see James Harden have the ball in his hands and make plays for the team because you know Kyrie won't do it. It's not even that he can't. He won't do it. He's looking to score. He wants to be a pure scorer. Fine. James Harden is realizing that, and he realizes that in order for them to win and be successful, I need to play make, and that's what he's going to do. Is it using Harden to his fullest ability as a scorer? No, but everybody has to play a role in this team in order for them to win. We'll see how it goes on using these roles.
For sure. I mean, before we get into becoming a Brooklyn Nets podcast, I think we should just wrap it up by saying there's still a lot to be proven from this team. There's still a lot to be done and a long way for them to come. And I think at the end of the day, Kyrie's personality is going to be the biggest question mark.
Absolutely.
Are you bought in? Are you going to show up? Are you committed?
That's been a question mark for years.
And now, because of all the postponements that are happening, there's talks of moving to a bubble for the playoffs because you can't have series where you're putting a guy on the bench because he didn't get a conclusive test. It's Kevin Durant. You can't decide a playoff series because of that. So they're trying to minimize that by having the bubble. And come bubble time, Kyrie didn't want to go last year. He was the only one saying we should not go last year. We should forfeit our salaries and stay home and fight.
There's been debates that they've been better off without Kyrie and just James Harden and Kevin Durant. So who knows? But unfortunately, they've given up too many pieces for that.
I was just gonna say that's the issue.
He better show up to the bubble. But let's move on to a topic that I didn't think we would talk about this 2 weeks in a row because I didn't think they were still going to keep up this streak. But the Utah Jazz have won 8 straight games, sitting top 3 amongst the elite in the Western Conference, balling out of their minds. Donovan Mitchell averaging 29 the last 3 games, doing an exceptional job of leading his team. Coach Snyder, which you and I have always mentioned, he's been an exceptional coach. Never really steady, always steady coach. He's been in the running for Coach of the Year throughout his time with the Jazz, so he's been a good coach. We're not going to talk about the win streak because we know the win streak is great, and we know that they're a great regular season team, and they're going to make noise during this regular season. Let's talk about Shaq's comments to Donovan Mitchell. And unfortunately, after a big win, which I think Donovan Mitchell had, 35 points that game?
Something like that, yeah.
In a post-game interview with the crew at Turner and Donovan Mitchell, Shaq looks at him after this big win and says, I'm not sold on you. I don't think you have what it takes. I don't think you've got it.
It was 36.7 rebounds, 5 assists in 34 minutes, and they beat the Pelicans to win 8 straight or 7 straight at that point.
And Shaq goes on to say, "I don't have it.
We don't think you have it.
We
don't think you have what it takes to get to that next level." What do you think about that? What do you have to say about that?
What is he supposed to say to that question? Oh, sorry, Shaq. No, I actually don't have it. Thanks for telling me. I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah.
Poor guy just said, okay. took it as like a I think Shaq was trying to be one of those motivational dudes. I don't know.
I just think Donovan Mitchell didn't want to embarrass himself or just say anything disrespectful on national TV.
Yeah, I mean,
because at the end of the day, he is a respectable kid. He's a respectful kid.
Yeah,
he's a professional. He conducts himself very professionally. He's not gonna snap at this guy, but you can see from his reaction, he's like, I don't give a about you, bro. Like, quite frankly, I don't give a crap about what you have to say about And Joe Ingles came out and responded. He's like, man, we don't need this. We don't need Shaq's TNT motivation. Like, keep
absolutely
that to
not.
yourself,
Yeah.
bro. He's like, we have enough in the locker room. We don't need that. And on top of that, like, well, I think what a lot of people are not even putting two and two together. He was just dissing Rudy a week before.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, this is an inspiration to kids. Anybody can get $200 million. Pretty much just like tearing him down for no reason. Like, you and I have said we think that contract is outrageous. Yeah. But there's ways of saying it. And when you're a bona fide hater coming out after
he
every
is a bona
big
fide
man,
hater.
Like, you hate on every big man that comes out that's like, anyone shows them any like form of love, you're hating. Yeah. So he's insecure. And I've said that many times. It's kind of weird that you have 4 rings and all this money.
You're one of the greatest to ever play this game.
And you're on TV many times a week on the most popular show, and you're still finding ways to be insecure about Rudy Gobert. Yeah. About Dwight Howard. About JaVale McGee. Like, JaVale McGee. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, and that's the thing that's frustrating is, first of all, don't ask him these ridiculous questions. Like, Kenny Smith, he interjected and he goes, what we meant to say is we think that your assist numbers and your rebound numbers, if you increase that 2 or 3 or 4, you'll get yourself to that next level where you're creating for players, you're rebounding, getting possessions. Okay, that's great. That's
informative.
Constructive
it's informative
criticism, but this guy has to come in and say that, and it was just embarrassing and off-putting to me. And I don't like the way Shaq handles business, and him and Chuck going back and forth, ripping on player after player. Like, it's bad for the product.
The product's already pretty damaged as it goes right now, just because of all the postponements, players missing from games because of COVID protocols. So the fact that that crew is like one of the reasons why casuals people watch NBA basketball, for that halftime show, for those game breaks, right? So the fact that you're constantly, crapping on the product and making these guys, even when they have good nights, trying to lower what they did, I think is just, that's not what you're supposed to do. And especially as a legend, it sucks the most when the older heads don't give any credit to these young guys who are up and coming or who have arrived in the game.
For sure, yeah.
And a guy like Shaq, you went up against some legends when you were a kid, bro. And at the same time, like, you had difficulties doing it by yourself too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to win a ring.
And difficulties putting in the work to get to that next level. He was great. He was naturally gifted. Imagine he put in that work. And Kobe said it time and time and time again. One of the reasons we argue is because he's so damn lazy and he's so damn fat. He didn't want to work. And unfortunately, that it's just he was great and he didn't feel like he needed to work. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But for him to turn around and come hard at all these guys, like, and just pick your moments, man. Like, the guy just had 36 points. They won 8 straight.
Let him have a bad game first and then do it or something, bro.
Pick your moments, man. And before we end the show, I just want to give a shout out to the Clippers. They're actually first in the West. They've won 7 straight. Mm-hmm. And PG, Kawhi, both 50, 40, 90 club.
They're snapping.
Averaging over 23 points a game each.
This is a revenge tour.
It's unreal. Unreal to have 2 guys that efficient, scoring that many points a game. Yeah. And they've won 7 straight, 13-4 record. The Lakers are 9-0 on the road, which is a ridiculous stat to me. It's a ridiculous stat, but they're second at 13-4 as well.
One more shout out I want to give to your kind of half team, whatever team that you kind of have confidence in this team. The Sixers are sitting on top of the Eastern Conference right now. Joel Embiid is making a case for an MVP season quietly.
He's number 1 on their MVP ladder. Or Jokic,
Embiid. Then Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid is having a phenomenal year, very quietly. I don't think it's getting enough attention, and I want to bring it to light today because I think he deserves a lot more attention than what he's getting. So shout out to you, Joel Embiid, for having a phenomenal season. Keep it up. And having 2 big men lead your MVP race is something that's pretty much unheard of, so it's great to see. Actually,
isn't it ironic that we heard about Shaq constantly talking about how Embiid needs to be better, and then when Embiid is better,
he doesn't say anything.
Mum's the word.
Does not. That's
because right now Joel Embiid is showing way more skill than Shaq ever had. He's turning around
skill wise, yeah, absolutely,
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean from a skill perspective. Yeah. So Shout out to Joel Embiid. Not shout out to Shaq. So, with that being said, this episode was brought to you guys by Yeti and
Skull Candy headphones. If you want some nice headphones while you're on the beach beside your Yeti cooler, do it.
Yes,
Buy
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know where to find us: YouTube, Listener, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Man, I lose track. Google
Yeah.
Podcasts.
But subscribe.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Like, comment on them. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to see on our graphics as well. Until then, we'll see you guys next week.